Well, our moms think we're funny.
Come on, man. You don't want to watch Kung Fu Gold? A gold miner returns from his hometown to arrange marriages for his fellow miners. He discovers that his own sweetheart was murdered by a corrupt army officer, and he teams up with a rebel fighter to defeat Kung Fu Gold.
Sure.
Why is he arranging marriages? Look at this poor man's like Bruce Lee.
It's probably a Bruce-sploitation movie.
I could be, man. Even though they don't mention like Bruce, like a Bruce Lee or Bruce Lay or any of them.
Well, we are recording.
Are we recording?
We're recording.
Oh, jeez, man. You gotta give me some advance notice, man. You always spring this shit on me.
I like to spring it on you. It's funny.
God. You gotta say no homo or something like that, man.
No.
Oh shit, Wizard of the Lost Kingdom. I've seen this. It's so fucking bad.
I feel like I have too.
It is so bad.
I feel like I have too.
Oh,
Holy shit.
Jinx. Speaking of which, have you ever watched any regular show?
Very little.
So I did not like regular show when I first saw it. I was like, this is pretty stupid. I was like, this is just damn dumb. Like, this is not funny at all. And then I saw the Jinx episode. And it's kind of weird how you can see an episode of something and it just completely changes your perspective on it. It just everything just takes it. And the Jinx episode was so good because Mordecai and Rigby are they're playing Jinx on each other, and then Rigby gets jinxed, and they find out that he can actually go and say his name in the mirror, and it's like someone else saying his name.
Yeah,
but I think he says Jinx or whatever. Anyway, they unleash this Jinx like demon from the mirror. It's so awesome.
That's cool.
And it was really good. And then after that, they had one where it was like Mordecai was taking the one chick to, I forget who it is, to the airport, and something happened, and he ends up going through this gang's territory, and there's always like graffiti on the wall that says like no cell phones, and like the gang leader is like, hey you, it's like what, he's like, put down your cell phone, we don't allow cell phones here. And then later on they come through and the guy's got bottles in his fingers like, Mordecai, put up your cell phone. It's so awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, so hey, my name's Turk182.
And I'm a comi.
Comi, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Hey, Turk, would you rather eat a baby goat or a mata baby?
Say again?
Would you rather eat a baby goat or a mata baby?
What's the matter, baby?
Nothing, sugar. What's wrong with you?
Nothing, honey.
I've been waiting all fucking weekend to throw that joke out there. Yeah.
I kind of caught on, and then I was like, yeah, I'll just go ahead. I'm just going to lean into it.
Don't take this from me.
So I posted our Let's Watch of Anaconda.
Oh, damn.
And I think you'll be quite happy with the description I put up there.
Okay.
Yeah, because I the description, I do the normal thing, hey, Comey and Turk182, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then I refer to you as, what I call you? Like baby catacomby.
Great.
I forget all the names that John Voight kept calling, remember?
Yeah. Oh, good stuff.
Little baby kangaroo. Oh.
I forgot all about that. It's such a stupid joke.
Yeah, it is, but we reference it so much.
We did.
That, yeah, I kind of had to put it in there.
Oh, so yeah. So, Turk, I figured I would tell you about my misadventures in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, because you started off and I asked you, said, what's the matter, baby? And you're like, oh, nothing, what's the matter with you? But no, something really is the matter with you.
Yeah, I cut my fucking thumb off.
Wow, that's going to hinder our comic book making.
Well, I got better. Like,
Oh, okay.
I didn't lose the whole thumb, just like the tip, but like they were able.
That's
to
what John Wayne Bobbitt said.
just the tip. So
Unfortunately, all he had was the tip.
Damn. So, no, I'm blowing it out of the water. I cut the tip of my thumb pretty deep and had to get stitches, and the doctors saved me. But it was a dumb night and it was a bad night, and I was in the ER from 12:30 till 5 a.m.
Oh, as long as it wasn't something serious.
Well, I mean, it needed stitches, so
Well, and there's the fact that your thumb's like hanging off, and you're like, no, just we'll be with you in a minute, Mr. Comi.
well, I timed it pretty well because there was nobody else there, so I didn't have a wait or anything.
Oh, so it just took you 5 hours because there's nobody there. That's even worse.
Well, it took no. There was
fucking
medical
assholes.
staff. There was medical staff there. What took so long was the stitching process, but I'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was cutting open some packaging, and I had a brand new knife. Because I lost my old pocket knife, which my old pocket knife. It was the Samurai Tonto.
How'd you lose that, dude?
At the Sonic movie, because the theater has these awesome reclining seats, and they were super comfortable, and I loved every second of reclining and seeing Sonic's gorgeous body on the screen. But then when I got back to my car and was like halfway home, I realized I was like, oh shit, the knife is gone.
See, that's the thing. That Sonic movie cost you more than just the price of a ticket.
Yeah, I blame Jim Carrey for it, honestly.
Yeah, I blame Jim Carrey for a lot of things.
But yeah, so, I mean, all I had was like a shitty cheap pocket knife.
Was it the one I gave you?
No. That one's a bit too big to fit in my pocket, so... No, that one's really nice. I like that one a lot. But yeah, so... I finally ordered myself a new knife. I got the new knife. I'd only had it for like a day, but I was not used at all to how sharp it was because I'd gotten used to the cheap shitty knife that doesn't have an edge. So I was cutting open some packaging that night. Had just gotten back from D&D, which is why it was so late. It's 12:30, and it's like, oh, I got some some tools for work in the mail. I'm just gonna cut that packaging open and then get to bed. And of course, the knife slips, cuts right into the tip of my thumb, and it's like, well, son of a bitch. So, I spent a minute just kind of panicking and like flinging my thumb around because it hurt so bad, and then that just made my entire bedroom look like a crime scene.
Wow!
Just like blood spatters everywhere. It's like, oh shit! I have comics out, I have art out. This is not good. But thankfully, nothing was like ruined. But I finally managed to stem the blood flow long enough to like place my thumb down on top of a Band-Aid and then like cocoon my thumb in multiple Band-Aids. It's like, okay, so, I'm stable enough, I can get myself to the hospital. So, get myself there. So what actually happened with that is, my mom had a gentleman friend over for a visit that evening. He had not gone home yet at the time.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I don't know if they would consider themselves a couple or not, but I mean he was there for dinner and it was 12:30. He still hadn't gone home, so. But yeah, so I let them know what's going on. So, and I guess for those who aren't familiar with like kind of my home situation, I live with my mom and take care of her, and that's why I'm working IT instead of doing art and podcasting full time is to support my mom. But anyway, so yeah, so she's like, he can help you, and I'm like, I really don't need help. She's like, no, he used to be we'll just call him D, just like to not give his full name on the podcast. But he's like,
we're going to call him what?
D.
D?
Yeah.
Like in D's nuts!
D's nuts, yeah. But yeah, she's like, no,
I'm 5.
She's like, no, he used to be a paramedic. He knows how to do this. So I'm like, oh, okay. So first thing is he's like, oh, you shouldn't use paper towels because you don't want those paper towel particles in there, so we'll get you a towel to stem this blood flow, right?
Yeah, because, I'd rather have cotton fibers in there.
So that's what happens is, he puts the towel on, and it just starts absorbing the blood, and then as soon as you pull the towel away, it just, like, rips everything even worse, and it's like, holy fuck, no!
Right, because it starts to congeal
Yeah,
around the.
so I'm like, give me a goddamn paper towel. Just help me get the Band-Aids on. I will drive myself to the hospital. So
this is why he lost his paramedic license.
Right.
Like, no, just give me some towels, I'll be fine. I know what the hell I'm doing.
Right, yeah, so for future reference, folks, if they say used to be a paramedic, there's that thing, used to being the operative word here.
Yeah, it's like when someone says, I used to have a house. And I used to be a guy. It's like, used to. You're not anymore.
So he helps me cocoon my thumb up, and I'm like, okay, blood flow's controlled. I feel stable. I'm sweating a little bad here, but I'm not dizzy. I'm okay. I can drive myself to the hospital. And he's like, no, I'll drive you. I'm like, it's okay. I mean, I don't dislike him. He's a nice guy, but it's like, no, it's okay. I mean, you need to leave. I want to just get this done and get home and go to bed. He's like, no, because you might get dizzy on the way. So
how much were you bleeding?
It was pretty bad, dude. I mean, it was bleeding a lot. I mean, it was a pretty deep cut.
Okay, so was it a slice or did you actually was it like a gash? Was it a
It was
slice?
like here at the tip, so it goes across about half inch, 3/4 of an inch.
So you just took the skin right off the top of that?
Yep, and it was flopping and dangling, and
so
ventriloquist puppet. So
there's no way you could have like superglued that.
No, no, it was like way too deep. So he's
That's
like,
what she said.
so he's like, I'll drive you. So we get out to his Jeep. And I'm like, no, you got to go home. It's like, I really don't want to just take up his evening doing this. Like, you got to get home. He's like, no, I don't mind at all. So
wow, somebody's trying to get in deep.
Right. So we pull out of the driveway. He's like, now I'm going to need you to navigate for me. I'm like, oh, so you don't know where the hospital is? Okay. He's like, no, it's fine. I've been there. I just don't know these roads. I just know the way there from my house. So we're driving a little.
Okay, well, take me to your house, and then from there, drive me to the hospital.
So we're driving along, and he's like,
that's the only way I know to get there.
So we're driving along, and I'm like, okay, take a left here, and he takes a right, and it's like, okay, so are we just going your way instead of the way I told you now? He's like, no, this is the way I always go. I know this way a little bit better. I'm like, yeah, but this is like 20 minutes slower, so if you just go my way, I can navigate you, and we can get there 15 minutes faster, and I can get this medical attention that I desperately need. He's like, no, it'll be fine, I can get there from here. So we go, and it is 20 minutes slower, and then we're about, 3 miles from the house at this point, and he starts going, 5 miles under the speed limit, and I'm thinking, dude, what are you doing?
Oh man, he was really seriously gonna be like, I tried to get him to the hospital, but he bled out before he got there.
Fucker was gonna let me bleed out. He's like, I used to speed everywhere I went when I was a young man, but now I just try to be safe.
You mean back when you drove the ambulance? And you actually could speed everywhere?
And he's a really nice guy, like I said, and he's such a soft heart that anytime an animal ran across the road, he would slow down to 5 miles an hour, and it's like, if I were driving behind him, I would be road raging so fucking much right now.
Again, that's why he's a former ENT.
Right.
It's like, he died, yeah, but I didn't hit a bunch of animals.
Like, hey, those turtles and deer were totally safe, So finally, long story short, it's 45 minutes later, we get to the goddamn hospital. So I come in, there's nobody there, and unfortunately, this is one of the hospitals where I repair printers at, so I'm just hoping to God that nobody recognizes me as the printer guy.
Oh, well, while you're here...
Hey, this printer's been making a squeaky noise. I will fucking murder you here on the spot. But thankfully, nobody did recognize me. It was night staff, it's it's 1:15 at this point. So...
Oh, man.
So they take me back, and... I'm trying to remember the exact order of everything. It was a bad night, but so they're checking me in, they're taking all my information and all that, and going down everything, and so you have the initial person checking you in for the billing stuff, then you have the nurse come in and check you in and takes your pulse. They put the fucking pulse thing on my left arm. It was my left thumb that got cut.
Yeah, so of course the blood flow is not going to be as strong.
So this is
all one right out.
Right.
I'm getting like a bumps, but no bumps.
Right. So it's just tightening and tightening. It's oh, this is worse. This is much worse. Okay, this is way worse. And so they finish up with all that, and she's like, okay, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain scale? 10 being the worst you've ever felt. And I'm like, well, right now I'm contained here. I've got 5 Band-Aids on this thumb, lots of pressure applied. it's okay right this minute. I'd say it's probably lingering around a 4 or 5, but let me promise you this, the minute you take these Band-Aids off, it's going to spike right up to, like, 9. She was like, okay, I'll make a note of that. So, they get me all checked in, get all the information in.
She didn't make a note of it, did she?
She didn't make a note of it. So,
bet you somewhere in that hospital, Oates is still waiting. It's like, she said she was coming back.
So, then the doctor comes, and this doctor was not anything like I was expecting. And I think I might have a crush on her, honestly.
Oh, like the police officer that night?
Oh yeah. Well, no, she wasn't that hot, but that was.
Oh gosh, she was so hot.
That was an insanely hot
Holy
police
jeez,
officer.
Dude, I almost that night on the way back home, I almost committed a bunch of crimes. Just so she'd be like, "Did I just see you?" I was like, "Yeah." I was gonna throw her in the trunk of my car.
That officer was almost hot enough to make me rethink the anarchy thing. There's a lot to be said for abiding by the law here. But yeah, no. The cool thing about this doctor is that like this chick comes in, she's got like purple and aqua hair dyed. She's got like a nose ring and piercings up and down her ears. And so she comes in, and at first, like, just the appearance was like, this is not the professional doctor that I'm used to seeing,
And that's why they have her working a night shift.
And that's kind of like my fault for judging by appearances right away, of just like, oh, she looks punkette, and if it were anything but a doctor, I'd be okay with that. But then I was wearing my The Thing shirt.
Oh, yeah.
The John Carpenter Thing shirt, that pink and purple one, which is, like, awesome. So, like, she stops in her tracks as soon as she comes in. She's like, holy crap, that's the coolest shirt I've ever seen. She's like, I love that movie. So, rather than tending to my thumb, we just start talking about The Thing. And, like, talking about the dog scene and all that. And it's like, this is a weird night, but this is pretty cool. She's actually pretty cool. So,
when are you going out on a date?
By the end of the story, you'll understand why I didn't ask her out on a date. But yeah, there were several moments during that conversation where it's just kind of that Wayne's World thing of like looking into the camera. Oh, I love this woman. So she was very cool. But then so she's like, okay, well, let's take care of the thumb. Do you think you need stitches? And there's just like this moment of silence, and I'm like, well, I kind of came here to get your opinion on that. Because I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical fields. I was like, right now the bleeding is contained, but I mean, I don't know if I'm going to need stitches or not. It's pretty deep. It hurts really bad, so probably. So she's like, okay, well, let me take a look at it. So takes the Band-Aids off, and shockingly, it's not bleeding too bad at the moment. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this won't be that bad. And she's like, oh, it doesn't look too bad. We can probably glue it down. Well, on second thought, this is going to feel like I'm hurting you. And then she peels the flap back. It's like, son of a fucking bitch! And of course the blood starts just coming out everywhere. She's like, oh yeah, you're bleeding a lot, you need stitches. And I'm thinking, well, no shit, Sherlock! Now I do! So, they managed to contain the bleeding yet again, get all that put back together, and she's like, okay, well, my intern's gonna be putting the stitches in, and it's like, oh, wonderful. This is great, okay. So this med student shuffles in, he's like, oh, hey.
I don't know which one's the gas and which one's the brake.
I'm like, okay, so you're going to be doing, he's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, how long have you been in med school? He's like, oh, I'm in my 4th year. I'm like, well, that's good. He's like, yeah, don't worry. I mean, I've set in on surgeries and baby deliveries and stuff. It's fine. I'm like, okay, well, how long have you been working the ER? And he's like, oh, this is my 1st week in the ER. I'm like, fuck. Okay. So sometime later, they have all the stuff together. He comes in, he's got the table and all that. He's got, like, the numbing agents, the syringes, the needle and thread and all that.
And so all this time, Mom's boyfriend just chilling out there in the lobby?
He's just in the waiting room, just being a nice guy, not hitting animals. I mean, I do really appreciate him taking the effort to do this, because this put him, out until 5 o'clock in the morning as well. So, I mean, I don't want to, rag on him too hard, but, so, he comes in with all this stuff, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to numb you first, and to do that, I am going to have to put a needle into your finger. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to give you a fair warning right now. That needle comes into this open knife wound, you're probably going to hear me cuss you out spectacularly. And I just apologize about that in advance, because know that this isn't anything personal. This is just what happens when you stick a needle into an open knife wound.
Yeah,
He's like, I understand.
I don't know you or your mother, but both of you are whores. I'm just going to just let you know that.
So,
and I suspect that you might have sex with each other. I'm just telling you. I don't really believe that, but I'm going to say it.
I mean, I just wanted to be responsible because, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, you don't want to tell somebody that they're a motherfucker and you're going to rip their throat out without, you know, setting this up ahead of time. You know, this just be how I be, you know? So, amazingly, spoiler alert, I didn't cuss throughout this entire process, but that's because of how much agony I was in. So, you know, he gets the Band-Aid off, you know, the blood is starting to flow, and he stabs the needle right into the open knife wound, and it's like, oh God! Oh!
Yeah.
So much pain, just like every nerve in my body is clenching up just remembering that. And so, he's like, well, I'm gonna need you to hold still. I'm like, at this point, this is evolution and work. I don't have control over my body at this point. When the needle goes in, I'm not in control anymore, so I'm sorry about whatever I'm about to do. So he tells me to hold my hurt arm with my free arm to keep it from jerking back by reflex. Sticks the needle in a second time. It's like, son of a goddamn bitch, this is bad.
Apparently that shit didn't work the first time, or else I shouldn't have felt that.
Right? So, you know, he winds up sticking the needle in like 4 or 5 times.
What?
It's, yeah, it was a wide enough cut, they had to like numb it in several places. And
So-
the problem is you can never completely numb your fingertip. They don't tell you that shit until later.
So when I had to get my my one wisdom tooth cut out, and he put the needle in there, like, so first he gives me the shot in the roof of my mouth. Mm-hmm. That's the one that hurts the most.
Oh, yeah,
that shot in the
yeah.
roof of my mouth. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And then basically, at least you could cuss. I can't cuss because I'm going to bite down on the syringe, and next thing you know, I got like shards of glass in my tongue, and he's like, well, now we got to numb your tongue and the rest of your mouth. I'm going to stick another needle in there. Like, the third time. So, but when he did the inside of my jaw, though, he like moved the needle around.
They wiggle it when they go in your mouth. I hate it.
But the thing is, though, just hold it straight. I can do it. So, but then he only had to stick me once.
Yeah.
As opposed to, all right, now I'm going to give you an injection here and give you an injection here.
Yeah,
like, just wiggle that shit around, man. You just one hole.
It's like, yeah, and I gotta put in the left side and the right side, and now the middle, and the middle was the worst, and I'm just like, oh god, this is so bad.
Why would you do the left side and the right side first,
Right.
and then like?
So, you know, he pokes and prods. He's like, is it numb? I'm like, well, the left side here is, but the right side, I'm still kind of feeling it when you poke it. He's like, well, let me numb it again. Does it again. It's like, okay, I'm really not feeling good about this. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and just try to put the stitching in, and if it gets too bad, just, you know, let me know. So he puts the first stitch in, gets it through there, and I'm watching, because I always watch medical stuff that goes on with my body if I can help it. I'm an artist. I like to see this stuff for real. Turns out that was a mistake. So he gets the first stitch in and ties it off.
I could have told you that.
I mean, usually it's not a problem. I've had other shit cut off of me that, like, I watch because it's like, I want to know what this looks like. I want to be able to, like, draw from memory if I need to. So he gets that first stitch in there, ties it off. He's like, okay, well, that was the first one. I was like, oh, as bad as that hurt, I'm kind of amazed that there are people who choose to do this without numbing. So he's like, well, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm okay. Actually, I feel really, really nauseous. Can I get a bag? So they hand me a bag. He's like, okay, you gonna throw up? And I'm sitting there a minute, and I say, no, I'm not gonna throw up. He's like, okay, that's good. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass out. Can we please set the bed back here? My vision is going black. I'm hearing ringing in my ears. It sounds like everything's underwater. It's the closest I've ever come to passing out.
Wow.
It was terrifying. So I'm laying there, and it takes like this is one reason why all this shit took 5 hours to do. So, you know, I'm laying there. It takes me a long time to get back up on my feet and, you know, like kind of recover from all that. So they sit me back up. He's like, you feeling okay? I was like, yeah. He was like, that was a little worrisome. You were pretty green there. It's like, okay, don't tell me you were worried. I'm worried enough for the both of us. He's like, well, good news is we can get started again. The bad news is the numbing is worn off at this point, so I'm going to have to re-numb you. And it's like, oh, son of a bitch. So,
what, how long does the numbing last?
Not long, apparently. It's supposed to be a fast thing. So,
wow.
God. So, yeah, and of course, you know, I'm covered in just, like, beads of sweat. It was awful. So
now I'm understanding why you didn't ask her out.
right, so she wasn't in there for any of this at this time, but
No,
you know,
she had JoJo the idiot boy.
right,
Like,
got Creepo the fuck boy here stitching me up.
oh wait. Oh wait, no, that wasn't the numbing agent. That was just the saline.
Oh, this is pain juice. I'm sorry. This is a mix of pain juice and Monster Energy drink.
Are they still using pain juice in hospitals?
I mean, only when it's really necessary.
I thought that should have been outlawed.
It probably was. So he renumbs me. Of course, I'm squirming and yelling and hooting and somehow not cussing throughout all that. And maybe I did cuss and I just don't remember it. Maybe this is like a PTSD thing.
Maybe that's what the part. That's what they actually got numbed was like your memory of cussing.
Right. So
you said shit that was so bad your brain blocked it out. You're like, wow, I don't even remember I said that.
And George Carlin like looks up from the afterlife. He's like, holy fuck, what is this?
You can't say that on TV.
So he renumbs me, whole fucking scenario all over again, and I manages to get so he's about to put the second stitch in. He's like, I don't recommend watching. I'm like, that would have been nice to know the first time. I was like, I'm not gonna watch. So he puts the stitches in there, ties it off. He's like, okay, how's that feel? I'm like, well, it's still pretty painful right now, but I mean, it feels better. He's like, okay, well, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ask the doctor if you need a third stitch. So he goes and gets her. She comes in, and of course, the first words out of her mouth is, well, I hear you had a dizzy spell. And it's like, yeah, yeah, I did.
Kind of lost a lot of blood there. You didn't offer me a cookie and orange juice, so what do you expect?
So, I mean, like, so yeah, so like, first thing is like this look on her face, like, oh, look at this little pussy, you know, passing out because of this. So
My thumb is my life, bitch! So, wait, can I guess what happens next? Can I guess what happens next?
Sure.
She looks at it and she says, yeah, I think it'd probably be best to have a third stitch. But by this time, the numbing agent
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, this is beautiful.
Right. So she smiles and like puts her hand on my arm. She's like, you're doing great. Lots of people get dizzy when they're getting stitches. And she walks out. I was like, well, now that's the point where I knew I couldn't ask her out. Where it's like this, you're doing very good, Joey. So he looks at me. He's like, well, I'm going to have to numb you again. I was like, okay, well, listen. When you're numbing me, you're stabbing a needle into my skin. And it really hurts, right? He's like, yeah. Like, okay, but when you're stitching me, you're stabbing a needle into my skin and it really hurts, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, so why don't we just eliminate the middleman and you just put the stitch in right away? He was like, do you want me to try that? I was like, yes, because this hurts. And it hurts when you numb me, so you might as well just do it and I'll take the pain the first time. So he did, and it hurt and it sucked, but it was so much easier than spending 20 minutes trying to fucking numb me again. So he does, and he was like, how was that? I was like, it hurt and it sucked. Put the stitches in! So...
Wow, man, you went full-on Roadhouse.
It was really annoying and really bad. But yeah, they got it all in. So...
I'm sorry, I just gotta take a moment. Bravo, man. Bravo.
So... That was my whole night there, and of course they said since I almost passed out they would get me some orange juice, and then they didn't, and they were like, okay, you can go home now. I was like, you know what, I just want to fucking go home. You know, at that point it was, you know, like 4:30 in the morning or something. No, it was 4:15 in the morning, so I get out, and at that point, D is, you know, he's still waiting in the waiting room patiently. Don't think he ever moved from his chair as far as I could tell. He was like, okay, well... I'll need you to navigate me home again. I was like, you know what, we're going to go my way, so just take the turns I tell you to take, because I can save us about 20 minutes. So he brought me home, and I was bandaged up and stitched up for a full week, but I'm back, and I'm badder than ever. So...
Wow.
So that was my week a couple weeks ago.
Wow, dude. I'm so glad you're better.
Me too, and like especially with it like hitting, you know, the drawing hand, that kind of shit always freaks me out a lot.
Yeah, I went to the dentist once, and he had to drill a tooth, and so he numbs me up, and he's drilling the tooth, and he hits a part that's not numb.
Oh god, I hate when that happens.
And I was like, he's like, you feel that? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, just hold on, I'm almost done.
God.
I'm like, what? Oh my god! Motherfucker! Yeah, so he drove for like another, like, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute, and then I was like, wow.
God, no.
That was some pain.
Yeah, the teeth thing always messes me up real bad.
That's one of the things about Marathon Man that makes that like such a painful movie to watch. Is
there a tooth scene in Marathon Man?
Oh, you don't know?
Nah, I've only seen like that part that we watched last time I was here.
So it's wait, Marathon Man, not Running Man.
Yeah, I haven't seen Marathon Man at all.
Okay.
Oh, that's the one where Falcon told Cap to listen to the soundtrack, right?
Huh?
Was that it?
What?
At the beginning of Winter Soldier, Falcon tells Cap to listen to a soundtrack. Was it Marathon Man?
That was at the end of that, and no, that's a different movie. That the soundtrack he mentions is the one I think that's is it Trouble Man? It's Marvin Gaye.
Trouble Man, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. I actually bought that for my mom on vinyl.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. Marathon Man is about a guy whose brother is in. So Dustin Hoffman has a brother who's in like the CIA or something. He doesn't really know him. He shows up one day at his apartment and just out of the blue. And Dustin Hoffman's character is training for a marathon. And he shows up and then he's kind of gone just as quickly. And I'm trying to think if he gets killed, but I don't think he's killed in the apartment. It's been a while since I've seen it. Anyway, these guys show up looking for his brother, and it turns out that his brother had stolen some diamonds from this guy who was a Nazi war criminal.
Oh, damn.
Well, he stole them, but he was working for the CIA. I forget exactly what the whole connection was, but they think he knows where it is. But his brother hidden them in his apartment, and he had no idea. So they kidnap him, and they have him in this room, and there's a dentist chair, and the war criminal has him strapped down to the chair, and his mouth is pried open, and he just starts drilling his teeth.
Oh, no.
Without any kind of like anesthetic, nothing numbing, and all he ever says to him is it safe? And he has no idea what the guy's talking about. He just keeps going, is it safe? Is it safe? And he would just stop. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's all he says to him, which is it's one thing to be tortured, but if I don't know what you're torturing me about, and you think I know, but I can't tell you anything, it's like, yeah, that's the worst. I can't even lie.
Yeah,
and at one point, he even says, he's like, yeah, it's safe, it's really safe. And he just goes back, he's like, is it safe? It's like,
God.
Yeah.
Probably the worst tooth thing I've seen in a movie was Old Boy. Prying the tooth out with the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
God, with a hammer.
God, yeah. Just everything about that scene just like makes me clench up just thinking about it. Him like desperately trying to like push the hammer out of his tongue with his out of his mouth with his tongue, and like obviously that's not gonna work.
Where are we at?
We are at 32 minutes.
All right, let's break.
Let's do it,
and then it will come back and do a little bit more.
Yeah, and we're back.
So if you check this out here, right, where I put on the original kite.
Yeah.
So if you look here, here's the scene from the ex-girlfriend video, No Doubt video, where she sits down, talking to the guy on the bench, back to back, and he gives her the assignment.
Yeah.
So that's the scene right here.
Cool.
Wow,
that guy looks like me.
I like how his eyes are like centered right in the middle of his head, like, and then like one eye's looking one way, and the other's looking the other way.
Yeah, it's a great design.
And then he's got that horrible scar.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of mishap stories with, like, doctors or anything, but that was a bad time. Bad night.
I remember when I had a cyst in my leg. It was right there at the knee.
Holy shit, I had something like that.
But it was on the inside of my... It was on the inside of my leg.
Oh, yeah.
So when I would run sometimes, it was just a small little thing, like the size of a pea.
Mm-hmm.
But when I would run, sometimes my foot would graze it, and it would hurt like hell.
Yeah.
So...
Mine was like right here on the front, just above the knee.
Well, you've seen my scar. You probably just never paid much attention to it, but it used to be much worse. Over time, it's really faded. But it used to be much worse.
Oh, yeah.
And it used to look like a scorpion. My mom, I was in junior high, so she takes me to the doctor to get it cut out. and so they, that's just a quick inpatient thing. I mean outpatient thing. So it just that's it, and they sewed me up. So when they're stitching me up, though, when they're stitching me up, they inject it's still numb from when they cut it out, but when they're stitching it, the thread is along my leg. I can feel it on my thigh.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're pulling the needle through, you can feel it like sliding across my thigh until it gets to the part that's numb, and then you don't feel anything anymore. Which is like creepy. The weirdest feeling. Like you can feel it, and you can feel it going to like a part of your body. Because I mean, it's like if you take your finger and you drag your finger down your arm, yep. and then you just lift your finger up, before you get to like the wrist, and it's like, well, I'm expecting it to continue going forward, but it just stops.
It makes it feel like you have a spider web on you. I really don't like that feeling at all.
And so that went through a couple times because they put quite a few stitches in there. And it was like, wow, okay. That was kind of odd feeling. And like a week later, I had to get the stitches taken out. And I've never having stitches taken out before. I guess in my mind, because I heard people say, oh, stitches really hurt. Like, no, they don't really hurt. And like going in really hurts, but getting them taken out, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then some people were like, oh, staples hurt less than scissors. And I'm like, the stitches. I'm like, yeah, I don't see how that's possible. Staples hurting less than stitches.
I don't buy that. I've never had staples though.
But I guess in my mind, I didn't really think about what stitches were. Like, you hear about stitches. Oh yeah, so we're going to stitch you up. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I really don't know what I was thinking because I know what stitches do, but I guess I wasn't really thinking about like what they do. And I know that, you have things like dissolving stitches where, for like, depending on what the surgery is or if they're stitching up inside, those stitches are going to stay, so they have to like dissolve over time.
Yeah, I've had some like that.
But the one thing is that they're sticking, just like with your thumb, they're sticking a needle into your skin and then drawing a piece of thread, surgical thread, through to hold the flesh together while it heals.
Yep.
Well, when they're done, and this skin has done its job, they cut the stitches and then they pull them out. Mm-hmm. So they stuck this needle or this thread through your body, and now I'm just going to pull it right back out of your body. So, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Because I didn't really think about it. There was just no reason for me to think about it. I'm like, okay, now you're just yanking thread out of my body.
Right.
Worse than like plucking hairs, because at least those are just coming out of like a follicle. You just stuck this in there.
Right.
And then you just think, I'm going to cut them and I'm just going to yank them out. And they're not thread, they're nylon.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, that hurt quite a bit. You just snip, snip, snip. Oh, that part's fine. Then you yank, yank, yank. So here's the worst part about it, which really wasn't that bad. I actually kind of found that a little intriguing.
Yeah.
Was for several years later, I would find like pieces of stitch that would come up. So like I said, it looked like a scorpion. It used to look like a scorpion.
Yeah.
So where all the stitch holes were on both sides of the incision,
right,
there would be these little holes there from where the needle had gone in and out. So that kind of looked almost like the legs of the scorpion.
Yeah.
And then the scar itself is the body, and then at the final end would have been like the tail. So there were still these little indentations in my skin there from the stitches. And every once in a while, I may be like putting lotion on, just kind of rub my leg, and I would feel something there, just something not sharp, but something hard.
Yeah.
And I would go into the bathroom, kind of get up on the counter, and I would just kind of like rub my finger across, and I'd get a pair of tweezers, and I just gently just slide like the top edge of it across it, and you could feel it like hit something.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's a stitch. Sometimes I'd have to wait until the stitch came up a little bit more, till because your body's just pushing it out like a splinter.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes I have to wait, and that's the hardest part, is that I know there's something there, and every once in a while, like even like my jeans or whatever may rub against it, but it's still too short for me to get. So I just gotta wait days and days and days with Tom Petty playing in my head, and until it could get up enough to. And of course, you're checking it every day. Where you say, okay, is it up enough for me to get it really good? No, not yet.
That's what she said.
And then I'd just like finding it, and like, there you go, and then grab it and just yank. And I think I ended up pulling out maybe 4 stitches,
Wow.
like over a course of like 4 or 5 years.
You would think they'd be better at it than that.
Well, I guess so. They cut up the middle,
Yeah.
and they made like, I don't know exactly how the stitch goes in, but they basically, I said, like some of the short ends when they cut, that part gets left behind.
Right, yeah.
Except, I guess, like I said, however, it's knotted, so when you cut it, like that part is cutting out. So yeah, now that's kind of weird, but at the same time, it was also kind of interesting, just kind of like find your own stitches and pull them out. But like,
Yeah.
oh,
I just removed my own stitches when the time came because it was like, especially with all this corona shit going on, like I didn't want to go back to the ER if it wasn't necessary. And I checked with another medical facility and they're like, well, because of all this stuff that's going on, we're not taking new patients. It's like, oh, great. So I looked and it's like, well, they're not, it's right there on the surface and there's only 3 stitches. It's kind of hard to fuck up. So,
Right.
and the knot was loose enough on them, I could just untie them with like a safety pin and then just like pull them straight out.
I thought you were going to say you use your new knife and you're like, oh shit, not again. Oh, this is a bad idea, Comi. One day, this is when I was in middle school as well. I didn't have a TV in my bedroom at the time, and I don't remember why I didn't have a TV in my bedroom. But I was sitting here we had a TV in the kitchen, which may seem kind of weird to people, but I used to have a TV in the kitchen because it was a small, like, little 13-inch TV in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because you might be in there, and we didn't have one in the living room, which is like where the house was set up. You walk in, it was like the living room, and then the dining room and the kitchen were kind of all right there.
Yeah.
So without a TV being in the living room, if you were cooking something, it was just kind of boring. If you're like, okay, I gotta wait for the water to boil, I gotta wait for this thing to sear or whatever. So we had a TV in the kitchen. It was like right there in the corner of the cabinet space. It was a fairly nice sized kitchen, bigger than mine, but it had better cabinets too, and actually had an actual like closed door pantry. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even had like a twin ovens, which was cool. I used to come home every day and like make myself like grilled cheese from school. I just come home and we had like a little aluminum pie pan.
Yeah.
And I just get some bread out of the fridge and I put some butter on it. Take some cheese, like slice some cheese, like from a block of cheese.
Yeah.
Lay it on the buttered bread, and put it in a pie pan. Put it in the oven at like 250, 300.
Nice.
And it would just take just like a minute or so, and it would toast it and melt that cheese. Damn, grilled cheese.
Man.
Yeah,
that's making me hungry.
It's not really grilled either because it's like crispy kind of on the edges, but then the butter would make the bread really soft.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, delicious. I'd make like 4 of those every day. Scrumdiddlyumptious.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I was sitting there in the kitchen and I'm watching some show on TV. I can't remember what it was now. And while I'm sitting here in between the show, the commercials, and there was we had the butcher block there, and there's a knife. So I'm just kind of sitting there, I'm just kind of messing around with the knife, and I'm playing with the knife, and I'm just kind of feeling the edge of the knife, like the blade. But instead of like rubbing my finger like across it, like vertically or horizontally, I'm rubbing across it vertically.
Yeah.
And so I'm feeling the edge of the knife, and I'm like, man, the blade of this knife feels weird. Right? I was like, it didn't feel like a blade would feel. It felt weird.
Yeah.
And I looked down, and it's in my finger.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, that's why it feels weird. I was like, whoops. I was like, no, you're supposed to like flick the edge of the knife, not actually rub your finger up and down it. So when you see those movies when the guy like takes a knife and he's like licks like that, he's like, you just slice the shit out of your tongue.
Yeah, that stuff always bothers me.
Yeah, enjoy drinking lemon juice for the next week. So yeah, it was just kind of like say one of those things. I was like, whoops, probably shouldn't have done that. I actually, I think I told you this. Maybe I said this on like the on the game bar once about the time I was asking if you'd ever lit a straw.
I think we have talked about that, but it's been a long time.
And something stupid thing. So anybody listening, any kids listening, or actually any adults, don't try this in your home. You can try it at home. Don't try it in your home. You gotta go outside. So my friend was like, "Oh, have you ever like set a straw on fire before?" It's like, "It's really cool." I was like, "No, I've never done that." So he had straw. We had a lighter, and I'm in my bedroom, and so you just take a plastic straw and you just light the end of it. And because it's a straw, so it's hollow in the middle, and there's that airflow, and it's plastic, and it starts to melt. It'll start to drip these flaming like plastic, like almost wax balls. It just like as it's like burning, and it just. And I was like, oh shit! So there's a spot in my bedroom where there are these hard plastic like globs in the carpet of my other old house from like a while back. It's like, whoops.
Oh, that's fantastic. When I first met Camelot, he found an old microwave by a dumpster. So he invited me and another friend over to his house. He's like, "We're going to do experiments with this microwave because I can't ruin mine."
That's already starting out really bad. We're going to do experiments with a microwave. You know, it has radiation in it.
Right. Well, it cut short pretty quickly because he was like, "Have you guys ever microwaved a CD?" And I was like, "Nuh-uh." And I was like, "Nuh-uh." And he was like, "All right, well, let's try this out." So he puts the CD in there, starts microwaving it, and it's like doing all these sparks and stuff. It's really cool looking, and we're like, "This is so fucking awesome!" And then it stops, and the smell kind of starts permeating the room, and we're like, "We need to go outside for at least an hour." So we all went outside and just waited until the house was aired back out. And then we like went back inside and just promptly took the microwave out. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to keep doing that.
So, it's funny. You can actually microwave metal. You can put metal in the microwave.
Huh.
You can. And I'm not bullshitting you. So people are like, "Oh, is Turk telling one of his lies again?" No, you can. And it was on Mythbusters and something else. You can put metal in the microwave. It's just that the metal has to be absolutely flat, because what happens is the electromagnetic radiation. I don't know how fuck microwaves work. I look like a scientist. Anyway, the electricity will arc, but as long as it's flat, there's nothing for it to arc across.
Yeah.
But if it's raised up in any way, that's when it'll start to arc. So some things, if you put in here, may be like metal, like a sheet of metal, but then it will, as it heats up, it will start to bend.
Yeah.
And then when it bends, it'll create points for the electricity to arc across.
Oh, wow.
But as long as it's flat, you can. But of course, they can't tell people that, because people are like, "It was flat." And like, no, it wasn't. See those lumps there? Those are not flat. So yeah, so you can't really tell people that it's okay, but yes, it is.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever tried to microwave metal before.
No. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but...
Hey guys, this is the Microwave Metal Challenge. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell.
Oh man, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that at all. Because I was about to say, oh, that would be a great internet challenge, the Microwave Metal Challenge. But the thing is, it's just like we were talking about the movie The Program. Like, somebody would end up doing that, and...
Hey, listeners, hit up Jake and Logan Paul and tell them to do the Microwave Metal Challenge.
Just like microwaving something when the glass is cracked on the front door.
Oh, yeah.
So I talked to you about this, but I'm actually going to pull it up real quick, just so I can kind of go into a little bit more detail.
Sure.
Because I just want you to know just how stupid this was. So, yeah, you keep the show going while I'm preparing things that I should have already prepared in advance that I didn't think I was going to need.
Let's see, what else? It's, like, completely unrelated to all the stuff we've talked about with this episode. What time are we at? We're still good. But did you hear the whole, like, fiasco with Billie Eilish?
I don't really know who Billie Eilish is. When I first saw her name, I thought it said Billie English.
Yeah, no.
Oh, the Grammy thing?
No, it's not or is it? I don't know.
Where, like, Billie Eilish won a Grammy for, like, best rock album or something, and people give her shit?
No. The only thing I know as far as people giving her shit over was that she didn't know who Led Zeppelin were or something like that. And it's like, I I'm not gonna give her shit about that because she's, a teenager, but at the same time, it's like you're also a professional musician, so you should know music. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yep, no, I'm good with it.
So it's like, I would say people don't need to give her shit over it, but she does kind of need to learn who they are. I'd say that's fair. But anyway, no, this whole thing is that ever since she got started in the music thing, she's always worn like these big, like baggy clothes and oversized sweaters and all that, because she doesn't like people commenting on her appearance and all that, right?
Right.
Which is, reasonable, especially since, up until very recently she was a minor. I mean, I get not being super comfortable with people saying, like, crass shit about her. I mean, that's fair. And so, I never really thought about it beyond that. It was just like, she was the chick who wore, baggy sweaters, and that's why. But then, on National Women's Day, which I think is March 10th, I don't know. I always thought of March 10th as Mario Day, but...
Yeah, March 10th is Mario Day.
Yeah, but it was around that time period. This is when I heard the news, that around that time period there was National Women's Day. So she's got a concert going on that day, and she says she's going to make a statement for women empowerment, and then strips down to her bra. And of course, the first thing that happens is that the internet lights up with a bunch of horny-ass dudes talking about how hot they think she is. It's like, well, that's kind of why you've been wearing baggy clothes all this time. That, to me, is a really bad way of trying to make a statement, I guess.
Right.
I mean, maybe I'm just a chauvinist or whatever, but it's like, that's not, making a statement. All that's doing is inviting the people that you've been trying to avoid for all this time. And I don't know. I thought it was, like, kind of a goofy way to do it. It's like, if I don't want people staring at my junk, I'm not going to get up on stage and be like, hey, how's this for men's rights? And then, like, flop my big old dong out for everyone to look at. It's like, that defeats the purpose. That's not...
No, I agree.
It's not accomplishing jack shit. All that's doing is the exact thing you don't want people to do.
Yeah, isn't that what you said? You didn't want to be objectified?
Right.
And I try to stay away from this kind of stuff, on mic, but... And I know I don't mean to say, well, you're not allowed to be happy with your body and flaunt your body or whatever without someone objectifying you. But that's kind of what happens when you do that, though.
Right.
So I'm just saying, it's like the good with the bad. Yes, you can be happy with it, and I mean, so take for example where you've got topless beaches over in Europe. Mm-hmm. People take pictures. Yeah, I'm just saying, people take pictures and, like, look at these topless. I mean, yes, that's what this is. And a lot of people, in Europe, there's like, yeah, this is what we do. Guys wear banana hammocks and women go topless at the beach. It's not a big deal. But right. Then you have people that are going to take pictures. So that being the case, you have to be prepared that if I'm going to go topless, someone's going to take a picture of me. Right. And that's going to be that. And they're going to objectify me. Whether it's right for them to do that, or, whether... that makes them something or something else. But the thing is, they're going to do it, and you just have to, you don't have to be happy with it, but you have to accept it if you're going to do something like that in public. Right, that's one thing if I'm walking around the house naked, and then pictures of me walking around the house naked are being put on the internet, but like, wait a minute now, how'd that happen? That's completely different.
But if you go down to Target butt-ass naked, then, I mean, yeah, there's going to be pictures.
Right. It's not my fault. They put a target in themselves. I should have expected that. But I'm saying, so if you're saying I don't want to be objectified, it's like, well, nobody wants to be objectified.
Right.
And I know that means that shouldn't mean that I can't go out and be happy with my body or any of that kind of stuff. But you just have to accept that some people are going to do that. And you just have to say, hey, please don't,
I think that you can be proud of your body, and I think that, you can make the statement that, women have a right to do certain things without being harassed, without doing it in that way,
But at the same time, though, I was watching this thing on, maybe it was Watch Mojo, and Chris Hemsworth was a thing where, like, things like, scenes in Marvel movies that actors didn't want to do, and Chris Hemsworth had a problem with taking off his shirt in, like, the second Thor movie. He's like, really? Do I really have to have a shirtless scene in this movie? And then when they did Ragnarok, same thing happened where, like, he was told that he had to do a shirtless scene, and he's like, really? Like all of a sudden it was like, kind of take off your shirt, and he's like, come on, aren't we past this? Right? Do I really need to do this?
Right.
He's like, well, yeah, the kind of women want to see that. That's kind of objectifying Chris Hemsworth, right?
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, like I said, you just kind of have to, in some places you have to accept it. You don't have to be happy with it. You don't have to say it's right. You don't have to dignify it in any way, but you do have to accept that it's going to happen.
Right, yeah.
And the only thing you can do is just try to teach people, and just be like, hey, this isn't cool.
Yeah, and it's definitely something to work on, but at the same time, it's like, with Chris Hemsworth, it's like he's kind of got to realize that he got the role of Thor because he's this, like, jacked, handsome muscle man.
Right.
And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how you got the job in the first place, and, no, that's not to justify, it's not to justify it happening, it's just, that is what's happening. I don't know, I think she would have been better suited to keep herself, like, clothed, and I think that makes as much as a statement of saying I'm not going to give people what they want, because that's what all the horny people on the internet want, is to see her showing skin. So
I was talking about this earlier when Walcrawl was here. So this movie called The Program, which came out back in 1993, even has your girl Joy Lauren Adams in it too. I didn't recall her being in it. But anyway, so where I told you there was like a little bit of controversy about it. So I'm just going to read this from Wikipedia, because I remember when it happened, but I want to actually read a somewhat real article on it. The film originally included a scene in which Kane, one of the football players, lies down in the middle of a road on a lane divider, cars barely missing him as they move at highway speeds. Reading aloud from a Sports Illustrated college football preview issue with him on the cover, he comically remarks, "They're talking about how good I am under pressure." Several team members who are at first trying to stop Kane decide that it's a test of their bravery and team unity and join him. Influenced by this, at two separate incidents, teenagers imitated the scene, resulting in 1 death and 2 injuries. This resulted in the scene being removed from the film after its release. A brief clip of the scene in question showing team members lying in the street had already been aired repeatedly in the television commercials for the film and therefore captured on VCRs. Later versions of the trailer had the clip removed. Now, anybody that knows, whenever I think you'd have to be smart enough to know this, and very rarely do you have some that aren't. And I always kind of go into this thing without explaining what I'm talking about. Whenever there's a scene in a movie or TV series that involves any kind of car, where someone's dashing across the street and dodging cars, or where there's a car chase or anything like that, sometimes those cars that are going back and forth across the street are CGI. Sometimes it's like a blue screen. But most of the time what you see, and it doesn't really matter how simple the scene is, every car on the road that's moving is driven by a stuntman. Those are all stunt cars and stunt drivers.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a car chase, and they're weaving in and out of cars and know the cars are being hit, every car on the road is being driven by a stuntman. There are some exceptions, like I think the car chase in the movie The French Connection, that was not. They filmed that in New York City without permission with no stunt drivers, just the car and the cameraman. And so when you see them like running red lights and turning corners and almost hitting things, that's all supposed to be real.
That's crazy.
The car that almost hits Dustin Hoffman in the film, in the making of Midnight Cowboy, when he's like, I'm walking here. Supposedly that was improvised. So they were filming and the cab almost hit him.
Wow.
And he just improvised that. So for you to do this, one thing, it's pretty fucking stupid. But again, all those cars on the road, those are all driven by stuntmen, and they film it a certain way to make it seem like those cars are going much faster than they are.
Right.
So it's just, I'm like, why would you be so fucking stupid? And I mean, I'm sorry that somebody died, but if so let's say I'm watching like Hobbs and Shaw, and The Rock jumps out the window on top of another guy, and they fall 10 stories. He lands on top of that guy and gets up. That doesn't mean you should to grab somebody and jump out the window with them and be like, look at me, I'm Hobbs and Shaw. Right. No, you're gonna fucking die, right? Because that's a movie and this is real life. I'm sorry that you're that stupid, right? But and that your family has to suffer that tragedy. But come on, don't do something that fucking dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I get the whole thing. Oh, you know, somebody died. It's a tragedy. But then you hit this point where it's like, but this hits the point where it's self-inflicted. It's like the people who like climb over the railing and get into the animal pens.
Oh, I thought the bear was waving at me. But I mean, in the family, they were all upset, and like, why would you include that scene? And I'm like, why would your son do something that stupid?
Right?
Yeah. It's like the whole Chappelle thing with him and R. Kelly. When R. Kelly's like, man, how you gonna make a video about somebody peeing on somebody? He's like, hey, you gonna make a video about somebody peeing on somebody? Like, you can't criticize me for the same thing you did. All right, so I gotta look up this thing, that whole Billie English thing.
Billie English.
Yeah. So Billie Eyelash.
Oh yeah, Billie Eyelash.
Okay, I'm not gonna attack her, but I just gotta look at her, and I know, like horny, like what do I want to call them? Just, I don't know, degenerates on the internet.
Yeah.
They want to see anything naked, but
yeah.
I'm looking at this depressed, mopey ass emo bitch, and I'm like, it's like. No,
I was trying to be diplomatic with all this approach.
I'm looking at like 20 different pictures of her, and I swear it's the same. It's the same picture. Only they like in one she's facing right, the other one she's facing left, and she's got different color hair.
Yeah, she always has the same facial expression.
Fucking smile, you fucking millionaire bitch! I smile all the time, and I don't have like two fucking nickels to rub together. And when I do, they want to sue me for like sexual harassment. And you got millions of dollars, and you're looking like. This life. Well, yo, fuck your life, ninja. I mean, shit. Oh, man, give me a fucking break.
The only song of hers I know is that song Bad Guy. And it's like all over TV and on a bunch of commercials and stuff, and I don't really care for that song. It really doesn't do anything for me.
I'm like, really? I mean, every picture here is just looking like, you taking my picture? I'm like, oh, God.
Dude, she's Generation Z. There's no helping it.
Generation, fuck you.
I mean, that's pretty much the Zoomers for you.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
And see, you made me just like rage in this girl. I didn't even freaking know her.
I wasn't trying to provoke an attack here. I just...
Whoa. Back the truck the fuck up. Billie Eyelash Pirate Baird O'Connell? Oh, fuck you. Fuck you with your fucking made-up bullshit name.
Pirate Bear O'Connell.
Read it.
Billie Eilish Pirate Baird. B-A-I-R-D.
I got a lift. Fuck you.
I thought you said Pirate Bear, and I'm like, what's this, her fucking persona? She's been going since 2016?
That's why she looks like that, because her fucking middle name's Pirate.
That's a pretty badass name. It's like how Robert Rodriguez's kids are named Rocket Racer and Rebel.
That is cool, though.
That's really cool, yeah. So, I mean, you think if Robert Rodriguez had a fourth kid, he wouldn't name him Pirate?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's Robert Rodriguez, though. I mean, I expect that from him. Okay, so here it is. Her accolades include 5 Grammy Awards, 2 American Music Awards, 2 Guinness World Records. Guinness World Records? That's a lot of fucking beer for an 18-year-old to be drinking. 1 Brit Award. There was something about her... Oh, and she's doing the theme song to the next James Bond movie. Well, that's
really
good. I'm actually happy about that. That means her career will be over. Oh, wait. Shit, no. No, it's every other James Bond song kills the singer's career.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, you had Chris Cornell doing, he did Casino Royale. And then you had Jack White and Alicia Keys, which I love that song. And they did Quantum of Solace. Hold on. Another Way to Die was the name of the song. That's for the Quantum of Solace. So that movie actually sucked, but the song was good. And then the next one you had was crap. It's the one that had what's that British singer chick's name that people like so much? Adele. Adele did the song for that one. And what is that movie? I got it over there on my shelf, but I can't think of the name of it because it's named after like his land. I know you don't have seen James Bond, but
I don't totally...
Skyfall.
Oh, yeah.
And she did the song for Skyfall. And then that other British guy did the song for it's not Scorpio. What was that? The group he's always fighting that had Batista in it. And Batista looked kind of awesome, like in his suit with the vest and everything.
Yeah,
he was kind of badass looking. And then you had the two-time Academy Award winner. Crap! I hate when I'm drawing blanks on names like this. Crap! I can see his face clearly in my head because I just watched Django scenes from Django the other day. Christoph Waltz.
Oh yeah.
He was in that, and he played the bad guy in that. That was ahead of the God bless America. I hate that I can't think of it right now. It's a single word title. Begins with an S. Spectre. And then that British guy did that song, and that song sucked. Oh my god, that song was horrible. It was so damn boring and dry. Oh man, I just listened to that song and my mouth felt like Sahara. It was that dry that it just like it was like listening to the song was just dehydrating my body. It was just ugh. And then you haven't really heard anything from him since then. So yeah, so you got Chris Cornell, and then you have Jack White and Alicia Keys. And then you've got Adele. Then you got that other guy, and now her. So yeah, she's gonna miss the curve. Yeah. Oh well. Oh, I guess more power to her then, right? Anyway, but yeah, there was something about her when she won the Grammys, and they're like, what? And it's like, okay. Because people are all upset. It's like, how can she win those awards? I'm like, I really don't give a shit what she wins. I mean, because I don't even know what her songs are. I mean, thankfully, I'm not trying to find out. And it's not because, oh, you're so old now to touch me. I don't give a shit about her music. Right. It's not something that it's not the style that I would listen to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're not the demographic for it.
No,
I mean, we don't listen to like modern pop, and it's a teenage girl making music for teenage girls. That's fine, and I don't begrudge her what success or recognition she's had. I just thought it was a silly way to try to go about making a statement.
Yeah, you know what? She looks like she's trying to pull off what's her name? Audrey Plaza.
A little bit, yeah.
But I'm sorry, only Aubrey Plaza can pull off an Aubrey Plaza. That mean that's it.
Yeah.
Because at least her kind of like bitchy, uninterested look is more like inviting than just like, I look like a bitch. And it's like, okay, that's I don't want to get near you. Aubrey's is more kind of seductive.
Yeah, it is.
Even in Scott Pilgrim where she's being a complete ass. It's like total ass tricky boy wannabe. Total ass.
Didn't she have the glasses in Scott Pilgrim?
She did.
Yeah, that was a good look.
She got that little pouty bottom lip too. That's sexy, But yeah, so I mean, I kind of went off on this chick I don't even know and don't care about. Probably won't even think twice about until we actually post this podcast and have to listen to it. But yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay, like, yeah, whatever, yo. But again, you got millions upon millions of fucking dollars. Just give me a goddamn smile for once. Like your life is that bad. I mean, really? Was she like 18 years old, not even 21, and you're a millionaire? Don't stop.
Yeah, I think she just turned 18, which I also think was part of the whole thing with, like, oh, now people have seen her in her bra.
Well, okay. If I really want to see somebody in a bra, go pull up a goddamn Sears catalog. I mean, because honestly, it's the same, right? I'm not there. Right. I'm not there. You're not showing it to me live. Not even like bubble chip. So, yeah, I could give two dicks about that.
There's so much about that kind of thing that I just don't understand. Like people who have like fans only stuff and like private Instagram shows and private Snapchats and shit like that.
So
It's like I'm sorry, but I can get all the porn I could ever want to watch for free. I'm not going to pay for that kind of stuff.
we were talked about that a little bit about that earlier. We're talking about the streaming services and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do have all these things like that, and then you've got like you mentioned like OnlyFans for these people that do like streaming stuff and all that. I can't afford all of that. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you like, I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't. And I get that this content's not free, but it's not really about whether or not you are making a profit. It's about you want to make more profit.
Right.
And that's where it kills me. Now, when I'm thinking about something like people that do like OnlyFans kind of stuff, it is still about you making more money. It also, though, from like the one podcast I was listening to, I stopped listening to it because I don't want to say it was getting boring, but it was kind of more of the same thing. And I really wasn't, like, I was intrigued at first, but then that kind of just quickly fell away to like, meh. But part of that was also them having more control for some of the adult stars, having more control over like what they do and when they do it, and not having to rely so much on studios to be able to say, okay, we're going to put this together, we're going to pay you this much. I've got strong enough fan base, I can reach out directly to them, and then I can determine like if I want to film a scene today, if I don't want to film a scene. I do it. I control everything. Who I'm going to work with, what I'm going to do, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Being in, because especially when you're talking about something like that, where it's your body, and even though I am kind of, in a sense, almost like a stuntman, even though I am putting my body out there and I'm saying that yes, you can use my body to make this entertainment.
Right.
But if you take a look at a stuntman, you're doing the same thing, right? A stuntman's saying, hey, I'm putting my body out there for you to make entertainment, But if I had the chance to make my own entertainment and still use my body, but use it in the way that I want to and have more control over it,
Yeah.
would I want to do that? Well, of course I would. Who wouldn't? So I put that in the same vein, and then you can reach directly out to the people who are your fans, and they were like, "Hey, my fans, hey, let's tell me some of the stuff you want to see, or let's connect." And I think that's great. The thing that I guess gives me pause in a sense, not that I was ever planning on joining anybody's OnlyFans, because again, I don't get that kind of money, man, shit. But is I'm not getting anything out of it,
Right.
because I'm not really connecting with you in any way other than I was before. So there's no real connection there. Not in the sense that I think some people really want, which is not that like, oh, I want to bang you, but like, hey, I want you to know me. I want you to know who I am. I want us to be friends or whatever. Like, no, that's never going to happen. There's always going to be this distance and this barrier between us, and it's almost like falling in love with a call girl, which is no. Our relationship here is strictly business.
Right.
Because you are doing this, it does mean that I'm going to be a little more open and friendly with you, and basically not show you the strings of this is business.
Right.
But this is business.
Yeah.
There's no time at all where I'm going to say thank you so much for being such a great fan, and I'm not going to charge you for this. No, that's not going to happen. If you think it's going to happen, you're an idiot. That's never going to happen. Just remember this is a business. It's always going to be a business, and you're not connecting with me in any way other than you have been, before.
Yeah. I think so often you've got a lot of people, and I mean, we've kind of talked about this with like some of the like porn conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have those guys who are just like basically drooling over their table, and like you can tell that they're just hoping and praying that this woman's going to be like, "Oh, you're my biggest fan? Oh, well, we should go back to the hotel and bang." And it's like, it's not going to happen. And I think that's what a lot of people who subscribe to the OnlyFans kind of stuff are doing, of like, "Oh, you're that guy who made such a big donation? Oh, well, do me." And it's like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
They're not going to do that.
So, I went to GalaxyCon Richmond
And
not
you
too
did a
long ago.
porn star? And you did a porn star?
I didn't see any there, or if they were, they did a good job of hiding from me.
They were in cosplay.
I was sniffing them out too. It's like I got my own comic book. It's called Adventures of the Booby Watcher. So no, but I was there, and was it Shannon Elizabeth was there? I talked to you about that. I was like, dude, Shannon Elizabeth's going to be at the con. That's kind of awesome. Shannon Elizabeth's going to be there, and but I saw her, and she was with the other people from View Askew. I didn't take anything for her to sign. I didn't go. I walked by her, and I didn't go over there and talk to her or meet her. Not even to say, hey, I'm a fan of your. Nothing. But when I thought about it, I was like, okay, what do I know about her? She's freaking hot, right?
Right.
How many movies have I ever seen her in? I think 5. Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
Right.
13 Ghosts. The remake of Night of the Demons. American Pie. And shit, that might be it.
Huh.
So maybe just 4. And that's the thing. I'm not a big fan of hers. I don't own 13 Ghosts. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was, it was kind of neat. I could probably watch it again, but that's because it's been so long since I've watched it. And I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't like the greatest thing ever. And I do love, oh crap, what's the guy's name? I always have a hard time remembering his name. It's not Jamie Kennedy. It's, the other guy. He did the voice of, he played Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies.
Oh,
and
that
he
guy.
actually did the voice of him too.
Shit, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He's a good actor. He's got some range.
I like him though, and he was in like Hackers and shit. So I always liked him. I think he's kind of cool. And I like Tony Shalhoub. Again, I used to watch Wings back in the day, so of course I'm gonna like Tony Shalhoub.
Right.
But yeah, overall it was just okay. It was just it was a nice here, there it is, and now it's gone kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, that's kind of cool, and she's funny in it and all that stuff. But other than that, I mean, I got nothing to say. Like I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'd only be going over there because, dude, you're kind of hot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even now, older, you're kind of hot. No, that. You don't do that. You don't just go over there. I mean, if she was a porn star, it'd be different. Obviously, she's making her money off of being kind of hot and kind of naked, right?
Kind of naked.
Right. But yeah, I was like, I got nothing really to go over there and talk to her about, or even I can't say I'm a fan. I don't be like, yeah, I just wanted to meet you because what? Did you like my work? How many movies have you seen of mine? Get the fuck out of here! No, right. I mean, I had nothing there. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that was my reasoning for not going to meet Christy Carlson Romano, was because it's like, well, what do I have to say?
But you used to watch her in that. I told you to say. You should say, "Hey, congratulations on surviving Shia LaBeouf." I realize now, in retrospect, that his pairing with you was the only thing that kept him sane. Because as soon as you guys were no longer together, I don't know what you did, but he just went off the rails.
That's the thing. I don't want my first conversation with Christy Carlson Romano to be about Shia LaBeouf.
Oh man, well, I'm just saying. That's the conversation opener, man. That's the opener.
Yeah, he's definitely a conversation opener.
Yeah, and Christy Carlson Romano was definitely cute.
Oh, she's a real cutie, yeah.
But I get it. Like what am I kind of having that? But then that goes into my whole like celebrity thing, man. Just like why it's. I'm not gonna say I'm over it, but why it's. Like the appeal to me and the interest is kind of gone away because
it depends on the celebrity for me. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because I'm like, okay, what am I expecting out of this? What am I getting out of this? What's going to happen here? Yes, I meet you. Yes, you signed something, right? So if that's all I want is just them to sign something of mine. Okay, fine. I'm all about it. I'll go and I'll get something signed. But then again, I'm going to treat that like a business. Right. I'm going to go there. I'm going to give you my however X many amount of dollars that you want. I'm going to ask you to sign this. I'm going to thank you. I'm going to walk away.
Right.
I'm not going to try to engage in any kind of conversation because unfortunately, most of the time that leads nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the times that I have had some really good interactions with them, right? And I'm happy with that. That's the thing. I'm happy with the conversations I have. I'm cheating, by the way. Matthew Lillard.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy with the conversations I've had with some of them, and I'm glad with that they are just what they are. They were a conversation about this thing, and then we're done.
Yeah.
And then I've got like something cool to say. Oh yeah, I had a conversation with this person about that. But it's not because like, ooh, look at me, I met this person. It was like, hey, this is something like really cool that I like, and I met this person that had something to do with it, and they were really cool. We had a nice little conversation about that thing, and it's awesome.
But that's the thing. It's like that's what you're going into. Is like, yes, you'll have a nice conversation with them, but you're not going into this thinking I'm going to make friends with them.
Right.
It's like, yeah, me and Elijah Wood, we're good buddies.
Just like I was telling you, like, when I got to see Christopher Priest again, I talked to him, and and I sat down with him, just kind of back and forth, and we kind of chit chatted. But I don't think we're friends. Yeah, I gave him a card and stuff like that. Asked him about, if he wanted to be on In the Gutters, and but I don't think we're friends.
Right.
We had a good conversation. We've met and talked twice, and it was cool. And he's a really cool guy to talk to.
Yeah.
I enjoy my conversations with him, but yeah, I mean, there's no part about that I walked away and be like, he's my best friend. Like, people, let me tell you about my best friend. And like, no, I know exactly what that relationship was.
Right.
And that's all it is to it. So,
yeah, I mean, even somebody like Schweitzer, I would only go so far as to say that we're acquaintances,
Right,
It's like
exactly.
He knows me, I know him, but it's like we've never done anything socially. We've just talked at cons. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we've done it like, 6 or 7 times. We know each other, but that's it.
But it still takes him a moment when you see him for him to kind of recognize you.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
he's not someone you interact with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's like you see him like once a year, know?
Right.
So, yeah, that's the thing.
Maybe not even that this year since we're not doing Heroes.
Right. So, yeah. But when I can't even get that, that's what really kind of does it for me. When I can't even get that. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm kind of over this whole thing. I really am.
I mean, my whole thing is I don't want to be the one to have to force conversation.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm essentially in buying a signature from you or whatever, I'm paying you for your time. So at the very least, have some kind of amusing anecdote here to give us something to connect on.
Remember when we watched Hurricane Heist and I kept telling them it was a movie with Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman and what's my little Heidi's name that I love so much?
Randy Quaid?
No, Minnie Driver.
Oh yeah, Minnie Driver.
It was Hard Rain.
Oh,
originally
cool.
called Flood, Hard Rain.
Nice. We should watch that and see how it compares to Hurricane Heist.
Well, I wouldn't be against that. But that's the thing that kind of pisses me off too. And I was talking to a Crow fan about this, which is you are an actor. Here it is. You're here at this place interacting with people, and they're paying you anywhere from like $30 to $80 for a signature. For you to just put your Herbie Hancock on something, that's it. And then maybe have a 30-second conversation with them. Act like you want to fucking be there.
Yeah,
You're an actor. That's your fucking job. If you can't give me 30 seconds of really good acting, like, hey, I'm so pleased to meet you. Thank you very much for giving me $60 fucking for my Herbie Hancock here. Right? And then, like, one thing, you're not a good actor, and I'm not going to pay you fucking shit.
Right.
And that's what kills me. It's like, this is your job. It's not like if you were... if you were like a ballerina and like everybody that came up there, you had to do like a goddamn pirouette, right? No, it's just, you're an actor. Act like you're excited to be there. Act like you want to, like you're happy to meet me. Act like you're fucking happy to give my $60 goddamn dollars for signing your name. Because all the times you don't charge people at the grocery store $60 when you sign for your goddamn credit card receipt, right? So no, just act. Oh God, that just makes me so goddamn angry. And I hate that. It's like, give me your $60 and then run away. Regardless of what I do with that item that I got signed, where I throw it on eBay, where I wipe my ass with it, where I wait for you in the parking lot and throw it back at you and be like, fuck you, John Malkovich, and whatever I do with it, right?
Why John Malkovich?
Because of being that John Malkovich thing, when the guy go by and he throws the can at him, and it's like, but I'm just saying, whatever it is, and people are like, well, you're going to sell that, online. Okay, well, guess what? You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
You could do the same goddamn thing. So don't try to make it seem like, oh, you're making money off me. asshole, you're making money off me. You know,
Right.
this is a very symbiotic relationship here.
So where do you think your fucking mansion came from?
Right.
Maybe the fact that I watched your movie 3 times while I was in theaters? Possibly.
Right. So again, and then not to like I love it so much that I recommend it to people or whatever. So again, when I come to meet you and I don't have to give you anything, if I do decide to give you some money, please, for that 30 to 60 seconds while I'm there, just act like you actually thankful that I came there to get your signature.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have people that have signed shit that if it wasn't for that particular item has meaning to me, I'd rather throw it in fucking garbage than have their signature on it. And if there was a way I could remove the signature without damaging the item, I would. And I just call it a loss.
Yeah, we've had some bad interactions with a few people.
And I'm just like, really, dude, just pretend. Just give me that courtesy. And you're like, well, no one's paying me to. Yeah, they are. I just gave you $60 fucking dollars. Pretend like I have some kind of worth in your, in the world. Not even in your life, in the world.
Right.
Because if I wasn't here, guess what? You can fucking Thanos snap that $60 in your hand. Oh God! That's why I'm kind of over it because
Stone Cold Steve Austin starred in a movie.
Well, I've starred. You're being kind of generous there. He was in a movie. They were filming, and that's as much as I'll go.
He executed the acting craft within cinema.
Yes.
He's a star. I forgot.
No.
I forgot all about him.
Judging by the reviews in that movie, everybody did. Anyway, I just saying. So that whole thing that's a cross. It's like somebody stuck a jumping jack up my ass. It's just like like no matter how I move, it just hurts.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm ranting and just being a complete asshole again.
Yeah, we went a bit off topic and went a little bit over, but that's all good. This was fun.
Man, we never do that though. So please forgive us.
Oh yeah, or just listen to a different podcast.
There you go again. People don't listen to a different pod. I mean, you can listen to a different podcast. Just don't stop listening to us.
Oh yeah, we're podcast fascists here. You can only listen to our mom saying we're funny.
Well, I mean, that's preferable.
I want people to have a variety of entertainment.
No, because if they listen to other podcasts, they'll find out how much we suck. That's like doctors don't want you to get a second opinion because they're like, what? No, you need to have your arm removed. It's a hangnail. Who told you that? That guy's a fucking quack. Like, so you don't go to him anymore. Well. So no, cut that arm off and keep listening to us.
We love you guys. If you ever come get a $60 signature from us, we will definitely act like we like you.
Dude, I sign shit for free. All I have to do is just buy something from me that's worth signing. I mean, because honestly, I can't imagine you bring something to me to sign that you didn't buy from me. Which, I mean, I'd probably still sign it too, unless it was like, I don't know, like a subpoena or something. Like a power of attorney. Hey, would you mind signing this? If you're like, now I own you. You just took a loss.
Joke's on you, fucker.
I'm not worth anything.
I'll sign stuff you buy from me, or I would also sign King Kong merchandise. If you bring me any King Kong merchandise, I'll sign that for you.
And I'm just going to say, no one's asked me to do it yet, but I certainly would. I'll sign your boob.
I would definitely, well, depending on the boob.
Alex Jones' boob.
I would sign Alex Jones' boobs, yeah.
You'd have to shave a spot for me to sign, but yeah.
Yeah, I would sign Alex Jones' boobs.
Yeah. I won't sign Alex Jones' boob, but I will sign your boob. If you want me to sign your boob, dude, I would consider that an honor. I mean, no one's ever asked me to do that before. As long as we keep it above the waist, I'm cool.
I'm not sure if it's my place to be your first, but maybe get a little experience under your belt and we can talk.
Well, maybe you need to get a couple 100 pounds because you got no boobs there.
I got a peck.
A peck is not a boob. Robert Paulson, those are boobs.
Those are bitch tits.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bitch is just like the highest qualification of a boob. You're like, oh man, look at her. I mean, it's like boob, sugar tits, bitch tits, and then just like, and then you just got Pavlov's, man. I just see those things, I just start to salivate.
I prefer the internet meme metric of gigantic honkers, big badonkers, real tontongery cougars.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
Just yeah.
And who's that guy who always? I guess you don't want to talk about that on the show. The swiper.
I almost sent you a picture of it was a statue that oh hey yoga hosers it was a statue by the one artist based off of their artwork,
Yeah.
and it showed them as like, you know, blah blah blah, you know, from the art of this guy, and I did a screenshot and I almost altered it to like draw a line through that artist's name and put the other artist's name beneath it. And I was like, you know, why am I attacking this guy? I mean, I don't. He's never done anything bad to me. Like, just because he's done some questionable things doesn't mean I need to like attack him. It doesn't bother me. It hasn't hurt me in any way.
If you can bring me art that has been swiped from another artist, especially if you can like show the original art that it was swiped from, I'll totally sign that. Yeah, I think I've probably told you about this. Dave Sim, when the people started counterfeiting the first issues of Cerebus, there's like counterfeit issues 1 and 2 because those are the highest value issues. And of course, Dave Sim, being the guy who self-published them, can recognize the counterfeits from a mile away. So when people bring them and they're like, "Will you sign my book?" he just signs it Frank Frazetta.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, "Wait a minute, you're not Frank Frazetta." He's like, "Yeah, that's not Cerebus #1." So,
so ain't we both content?
Which is like the worst possible way to find out that this book that you just spent like $1,000 on is a counterfeit, but it's also really, really funny.
But I have to say though, man, that getting Dave Sim to sign Frank Frazetta on my bootleg copy of Cerebus,
oh yeah,
that would be worth just as much as the #1
oh,
signed
absolutely.
by him.
Absolutely. If I mean, I wouldn't pass up a counterfeit Cerebus #1.
Yeah, if he would still sign it like that, I'd probably go out of my way to find one. I'd buy an original and then just fucking counterfeit it myself just to get that proper signature.
Oh yeah, I'd be into it. Oh, anyway, yeah, well, this has been fun. Thanks for listening to the story of my stupid klutziness.
Yeah, and thank you for listening to me just kind of go off on shit like I always do. Been a while. But yeah, so, and cut.
Bye, everybody.
Zang, yo.
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.